All right, today we're diving into a report that, let me tell you, set off some serious fireworks in the world of scientific integrity. It's a story packed with explosive accusations, claims of censorship, and a really intense fight over who gets to guard the guardians of science.
So the article we're looking at today from Francois basically boils its entire investigation down to this one single powerful question. It's the kind of question that makes you stop and think about the whole system designed to keep science on the straight and narrow and ask, is it actually working the way it's supposed to?
So where does this whole thing kick off? You might be thinking a lab, right? Or a university office? Nope. Our story begins at a huge international conference, just as things are about to get very, very dramatic.
Okay, so picture this. We're in Sydney. It's the very last day of a major conference all about research integrity. You've got the world's top experts all in one place talking about the importance of being transparent and honest in science. The irony, as you'll see, is pretty thick.
And then bam, an email hits the inboxes of the conference organizers. And this thing is a total bombshell. It's from a group calling itself Science Guardians, and it makes this incredible claim that some of the very speakers at the conference, the supposed champions of integrity, were actually doing things that completely contradicted what they preached.
Okay, so who are these people sending this email? What's this big investigation they're talking about? Well, it all comes down to a group called Science Guardians, Tim.
So yeah, Science Guardians. The article says their whole deal is about pushing for more transparency and, rigor in scientific research. And to make their case, they decided to do a little experiment of their own, basically turning the microscope back on the system itself.
So how'd they do it? Well, according to the article, here's the game plan they supposedly followed. First, they got a team of anonymous, independent experts together. Their mission was super specific. Don't just find any little mistake, find what they called fatal flaws, the kind of errors that should get a paper pulled entirely. And their target? Papers published by a very well-known integrity consultant, Elizabeth Bick, and her team. The final step was to post all their findings on PubPeer, which is kind of like a public comment section for scientific papers.
All right, and this is where the story takes a sharp turn, because according to this report, what Science Guardians found wasn't just about problems in the research. No, they claim they stumbled upon a deliberate effort to shut them down.
Their whole accusation, the real headline grabber, boils down to one number, 100%. So what's that all about? Well, according to the article, it's a perfect score in censorship.
And this is really the core of it. The article claims that every single one, all 17 of their carefully documented comments about Bike's work was flat out removed from PubPeer. They're not saying the comments were debated or challenged, they're saying they were just gone, vanished.
And when you look at the timeline the article lays out, you start to see what they claim is a pattern. Look at this. The very first comment they posted, gone in less than 5 minutes. Then, over the next couple of months, 15 more are submitted and poof. They're allegedly deleted almost instantly. Now here's the weird part. One comment somehow slips through and stays up for exactly 10 days before it gets deleted too. The article's point is, this doesn't look like random chance or some technical glitch. They're arguing it looks deliberate, like someone was actively watching and waiting.
To really get what's going on here, you have to look at the people involved. The article paints this not just as a professional disagreement over data, but as a really, really personal fight. So the way the Francois article sets this up, the language is just incredibly stark. It's not subtle at all. On one side, you've got Elizabeth Bick, who they call a fake science integrity consultant and the architect of intellectual intimidation. Then on the other side, you have her critics, like Professor Didier Raoult, who are portrayed as victims and a counterpower of true scientists. It's presented as a true black and white, good versus evil kind of story.
And to give you a feel for just how intense this got, check out this quote from Professor Raoult that's in the article. He basically saw the Science Guardians report as a total victory, saying things like, the cheaters are unmasked, we are the good guys, and even calling Bike a madwoman who reads the images of articles in the stars. So yeah, the gloves were definitely off.
Okay, so why should we care about all this? It's a nasty fight for sure. But the article argues this isn't just about some comments on one website. It's a symptom of a much bigger issue, one that they say threatens the entire foundation of how science is supposed to work.
Yeah, the article makes a point to say, hey, this isn't only about the Science Guardians group. It then lists other people it calls victims of this whole system. They bring up Professor Raoult again, an oncologist named Wafik El-Diri, and even a Nobel Prize winner, Thomas Südhoff. The claim is that their careers took massive hits from what the article calls coordinated campaigns, leading to forced retractions and public humiliation. sometimes for what were supposedly just minor issues.
So what's the takeaway from all this, according to the source? Well, a few big things. First, they argue that platforms like PubPeer might not be the neutral ground we think they are, that they can be biased. Second, this kind of public infighting just chips away at the public's trust in science as a whole. And third, that we're seeing real scientific debate get replaced by what feels more like ideological warfare. And so the article ends with this big call to action. We need independent audits of these platforms, and we need clear rules against censorship.
And really, that brings us full circle. In this explainer, we've walked through the claims from one really explosive article. It's a story that pits whistleblowers against the establishment, a story of alleged censorship and a war over reputations. In the end, the source leaves us all with a pretty tough and maybe even unsettling question. In this huge battle for scientific truth, when the people policing the system are themselves under fire, who do you trust to be the final judge?